So you want to learn to draw, again. Maybe you drew a lot when you were a kid, maybe when you were in high school. Heck, maybe you were even a professional or had aspirations of becoming one, and then something unexpected occurred and you found yourself on a different path. Greetings, my name is Zach and I taught middle and high school art for over a decade. Getting back into any art can be complicated. This video is going to go through 16 tips about getting back into yours. These apply to any creative endeavor, not just fine arts, so if you are a composer, writer, or ideator of any kind, stay tuned. The following are in no particular order, so let's start with: be gracious with yourself. Your expectations are likely going to be that you progress quickly back to where you were in the earlier years. You may even be old enough or wise enough to know that your expectations will lean this way. But it is going to take some time to get back to any semblance of where you might have been. There is a good chance that you will have rose-colored glasses looking back on your old skill, romanticizing to some degree how proficient you were or how long projects actually took you to complete. Even if you can physically pull out your old pieces and observe them, will you remember how much time it took? How many references you used? The mental struggle that took place when you finally decided which of the potential compositions to settle on? We have a tendency to look back on ourselves and assume we were better than we actually were. Be gracious with yourself and give yourself some time. Dedicate a physical workspace to your craft and make sure you have the basic tools. Regardless of what creative area you wish to re-explore, make sure that you have the necessary things to accomplish that task. It can be such a barrier to entry when you want to work on your craft when the muse finally calls your name and you find yourself without a workspace, without a sketchbook, and without a pen. If you are watching this right now and have the desire to get back into your art, take a few minutes and make a note to get a sketchbook, to buy a pen, to get a journal, maybe order one online while you listen. Just don't put it off. You don't need to have anything complicated. Don't let the desire to oil paint dissuade you from painting at all. Start simple. Get some watercolors and some paper and a few cheap brushes. Don't overcomplicate it, but make sure you have the basic supplies and carve out a small space somewhere to make and create. A corner with a desk, one end of the dining table, you don't need many amenities to start over. I've spent many an evening at the kitchen counter or dining table. You just need somewhere you can leave your basic supplies so a spare 10 minutes can be claimed if they grace you with their presence. Do not put things on social media. I toyed with saying I would recommend not putting things on social media, but the more I have thought about it, the more I think abstaining from posting your material as you re-engage in your craft is the most beneficial choice for most people. Don't plan on posting to social media at the beginning of this new journey. There are some benefits, but the huge amount of potential deficits make this an area to be avoided at the beginning. How human it is to compare ourselves to others, and how easy it is to yearn for likes and views instead of progress and joy. Have goals, but make sure they are simple. It can be easy to be overambitious at the beginning and divine where you want your art to be in 3 years once you've successfully re-entered the field. Long-term goals are great, but as you re-engage, consider creating some very simple goals. This could be as easy as allocating a specific amount of time to spend on your craft, or picking a particular subject that you want to draw. The goals are supposed to keep you pointed in a particular direction, not dreading how far you have yet to go. So keep them light and simple, and let them guide you. You know you best, and keep that knowledge in mind as you design your first goals. Start small. Don't make big things. Physically and mentally, start small. It is going to be so easy to quit as you jump back into your craft, and you can stave this off by keeping your projects and pieces small. You don't need to write your novel right now. You don't need to fill a whole sketchbook. A single paragraph or page should suffice. This is working together with the simple goals to give you small, rational, and achievable expectations. It is emotionally difficult to relearn something, so make it easier on yourself. Keep it small. Consider scheduling and dedicating specific time. Especially if you have a busy life full of school, work, or parenting, try scheduling out small portions of time dutifully set aside to hone your craft. Keep these portions of time small at first, sneaking them in where you might have vegged out on Netflix or YouTube before. If you have the luxury of a more malleable schedule, try to schedule some time in every week. Every day may sound lovely, but it can be too much pressure at the start of the journey. That would be a great, simple goal to work toward. but start with scheduling small amounts of time. Find some free online resources early on. I would not recommend that you do this right away, but after you are a few days or weeks into your rediscovery, find some online resources to help and guide you. Whatever the particular craft you are honing is, there is a YouTube channel for you. Find an oil painter who walks you through the basics, or find someone who can teach you how to sculpt the hero's journey. These resources can help propel you at the beginning of your new exploration. If you have managed to stick with it for some time, perhaps, pay for some classes or material. Much of the best content online is found behind a paywall of some kind. This might seem unfortunate, but the hidden benefit comes down to human nature. We as people are much more apt to use and value something that costs us financially. When you pay for something, don't you feel a pressure to use it, to get your money's worth? You have skin in the game now. Don't do this at first, but consider this after you've stuck with it for a while. And don't spend a fortune. There are loads of $30 classes out there on Gumroad and other resource sites. I would like to list some here, but that could get a little overwhelming quickly. Let me know in the comments down below what classes and resources you have found that have helped you on your journey. Get some books. I love books. I have way too many, but they are like old friends. If you like books, get some books. The danger with them is that often they just sit there on a shelf doing you no discernible good. How many of you have remembered that your coaster on the coffee table is actually a book you purchased months ago? Just me? They are not for everyone, but if you like books, if you use books, get some. There are fantastic books out there on the basics of whatever artistic endeavor you are pursuing. I love them. They are exciting to me. They can hold so much hope and so many secrets. Attempt to find community. If you want to get back into something, if you have people in your life who do the same things as you, they can help hold you accountable. They can provide joy, and they can help you work through whatever your struggles are. If you are young, this is much easier. Take a class in school or at the local community college. In the grand scheme of things, they are quite affordable. If you don't have that ability, seek out some groups online. There are forums and Discord servers specifically built to provide artistic communities of whatever kind. As another option, reach out to some of the people you used to create with. Send them some pictures you've been working on and ask for their feedback. You may find yourself reconnecting with some old friends, and who knows, maybe you will end up pulling them back into the craft as well. Community makes things better, and it certainly brings more joy. Be patient. Patience is valuable and important to the longevity of any journey. Remember that growing a skill is difficult, and it often seems to be more difficult the older you are. I do not want to discourage any of you from attempting something new, but be aware of the time and the patience required for this task. Be patient with yourself and your progress. Don't rush it. Focus on joy. As you try to get back into your craft, pursue joy. Whatever will allow you to make and create, dive into that. Likely this will mean returning to what you have done before or what you truly enjoyed. Sit there in that space for some time, with your patience sitting over you and calming you. Draw for the sake of drawing. Get some coloring books to ease the start of the journey. This will look different for each of us, but find something that will be enjoyable and good for your soul as you re-engage. Diversify your media. I find that shifting between media can prevent fatigue. The things that bother me about watercolor are not present in working with ink. Perhaps it may be the same for you. Changing your media when you don't feel like diving in can help to alleviate some of that pressure, and maybe even stoke the coals of fun and enjoyment. Another benefit to this strategy is the potential to find new loves, to find something that you hadn't even considered before. Just be patient and kind to yourself as you try new things. If you only drew in pencil in the past, don't marry yourself to that idea. Try some new things. You might just find a new love. Track progress. A sketchbook will do this by its very nature. I have a tendency to date pages in my sketchbooks, and I used to be litigious about recording the amount of time a drawing took. I would not recommend the latter, as it can become a stumbling block, but cataloging the date of your art can be wonderful later on. When you are struggling, being able to jump back in time and see your journey in its totality, to see your progress as you have worked through and past certain issues, can be dynamically encouraging. I find that if I put the date on drawings, I also feel a pressure not to skip a day. So think about this. The pressure benefits some and hinders others. So know yourself and choose wisely. Buy cheaper things. Start cheap. Buy cheaper sketchbooks, cheaper pencils, cheaper paints. The reason? You can avoid putting undue and unnecessary pressure on yourself. Once you have some legwork done, treat yourself to nicer things. But there is no need to weigh yourself down with the pressure, the cost, or the research early on. How many of us have ever been in a place where we don't want to mess up a new expensive canvas or a beautiful sketchbook? Ballpoint pens are great. Cheap watercolors are great. And a lot of drawing can happen on just plain old printer paper. Staying cheap at the beginning will once again ease the barrier to entry. Get outside. In all seriousness, observe the world around you, walk around, and try not to stay cooped up inside. After you finish an artistic session, getting outside and going for a walk allows your mind to process, problem solve, and relax. The world is a wondrous place, and especially if you are drawing or painting, seeing how light affects things, how the seasons around you change, and really letting that sink in cannot help but improve your artistic work. Don't be unsafe while driving, but look at the world around you. When you start noticing the shading and the color of the trees instead of the tree itself, you will know your brain is in gear. Plus, the smell of grass is good for your soul, and I've heard the songs of birds can lift your spirits. Have a good one, y'all. See you soon.